From Vermont Public, this is The Frequency. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. It's Thursday, May 15th, and here are today's headlines. The union representing Rutland teachers and school board members reached a deal late Tuesday night, meaning there was no teacher strike yesterday morning and students attended school as normal. Negotiators from the Rutland Education Association met with members of the Rutland City Public School Board for nearly 8 hours Tuesday and reached a deal just after midnight on Wednesday. Details of the agreement have not yet been released pending ratification by members of the Rutland Education Association and the City School Board. The deal follows 18 months of negotiations. The legislature's $9 billion state budget plan is headed to the desk of Republican Governor Phil Scott later this week. Scott is expected to sign the bill, which reserves more than $100 million to deal with potential cuts to federal spending by Congress. House Appropriations Chair Robin Scheid says the reserve will give the Scott administration the ability to backfill lost revenues.
When we put this budget together, we really tried to build in flexibility, and we had, sort of top of mind that any number of things could happen from Washington.
Federal lawmakers are working on a budget reconciliation package that would, by some estimates, result in more than 10 million Americans losing Medicaid coverage. Lawmakers and administration officials say they are considering using state funds to offset federal spending cuts if and when they come. All 5 of Vermont's Rite Aid pharmacies will close as the national chain works through Chapter 11 bankruptcy. WCAX reports that the towns affected by the pending closures are Randolph, Springfield, Brattleboro, Windsor, and Bethel. The Rite Aids in Bethel and Windsor are those towns' only pharmacies. The stores are reportedly closing over the next few weeks. And an annual event in the capital city could cause some traffic snarls today. The Vermont Corporate Cup Challenge and state agency race invites businesses, government, and nonprofit organizations to run or walk 5 kilometers on Montpelier's downtown streets. The money raised will benefit the Vermont Governor's Council of Physical Fitness and Sports. The 5K starts at 6 p.m. at the Capitol building. Several main roadways will be blocked off and drivers should expect delays. Coming up, Vermont is the only state that requires testing in schools for contaminants like PCBs, but finding the money to deal with the problem if they're found is making it difficult for districts to handle the cleanup. We'll get details on one school in Hartford that's encountered this issue after this. Students learning intense. Libraries and gyms offline. Vermont's law requiring schools to test for PCBs has caused innumerable disruptions. Now, school officials in Hartford say that widespread contamination could require the district to rebuild over half its high school. What's happening in Hartford is just the latest twist in an ongoing saga of how Vermont schools are contending with this potentially cancer-causing chemical that's been discovered in so many schools. Vermont Public's Lola Dufour joins me now to explain what's been going on. Hey, Lola.
Hey, Mitch.
So remind our listeners, what exactly are PCBs and why should we care about them?
Well, they're this class of man-made chemicals that were actually banned by Congress in 1979. But before that, they were used in all manner of construction materials. And so, as you can imagine, they have a habit of turning up in a lot of places, including Vermont's very old schools.
Including in Hartford.
Including in Hartford. In some areas, mostly at its tech center, the levels were high enough that students had to be immediately relocated elsewhere. But they also found them in the gym, the auditorium, the cafeteria, and a whole lot of classrooms at levels that will require intervention.
Okay, so Hartford is doing these tests because of a state mandate. Is the state telling them they need to rebuild? Because that sounds pretty drastic.
Not yet. It appears the state thinks Hartford should explore its options, including perhaps some less aggressive measures. According to the superintendent, they've suggested trying to basically seal the contaminants in place so they don't leak into the air, or try and improve ventilation. But school officials, they're the ones who want to take a more radical approach. And that's partly because the science of PCB remediation is kind of a work in progress. Unlike, say, lead or asbestos, PCBs are kind of a new problem. We're only just starting to figure out how to deal with them. And in some cases, the state has recommended mitigation strategies to schools that haven't worked that well. So school officials here are saying, we want to just do the thing we know with certainty will take care of the problem. And that's basically just rebuild from scratch.
Well, who's going to pay for all this?
That is the multi-million-dollar question. When Vermont passed this law, which, by the way, no other state in the country has on its books, that required this testing in all schools, it promised it would pay for all testing and all remediation. And you know what? So far, it has made good on that promise. But it's already invested over $37 million into this program, and only about $3 million is left. And the state has only tested about half of the schools it set out to test. And while this mandate is still in law, the state has effectively paused testing in any new schools.
And Lola, what happens if Vermont can't find the money to pay for all the cleanup costs?
That is a good question. A number of people are hoping the courts will save the day. There are multiple ongoing lawsuits against Monsanto, which once manufactured PCBs. One was filed by Attorney General Charity Clark on behalf of the state and its schools. But the Burlington School District has also filed its own standalone suit. And then there's another lawsuit, which was filed by a coalition of Vermont school districts. And Hartford is a member of that class action lawsuit. The company is facing a lot of PCB-related litigation and a series of multi-million-dollar settlements, including in Seattle and Los Angeles, have raised hopes here locally that court action could bear fruit. But every lawsuit is different, and skeptics say a legal resolution could take years, and that Vermont schools might get pennies on the dollar if they get anything at all.
Vermont Public's Lola Dufour, thank you so much for that update. I really appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks, Mitch.
Nearly 7,500 musicians were waiting to see if they would perform on one of the biggest little stages in music media today. That's because of NPR's annual Tiny Desk contest, which offers one unsigned artist the opportunity to record one of the namesake shows and get all the exposure that comes with it. NPR announced the winner, and her song on Tuesday was rapper, singer, and spoken word artist Ruby Ibarra's multilingual tune Bacanawa that rose to the top. Ibarra is from the Bay Area by way of the Philippines. Now, nearly 40 artists from Vermont submitted entries this year, and we've chosen a few to share with you in the lead-up to Tuesday's announcement. In this episode, we'll hear from Rick Polari, Judy Emanuel, and Bretta Mike. Rick Polari is up first.
I am Rick Polari, and I live in Heinsberg.
I'm just a music man, living gently.
I mostly am a musician, but my wife is a hand bookbinder, and she restores old Bibles and all kinds of books. And she has engaged me into helping her. So when I'm not out on the road, I'm there helping Mariana bind books.
Everyone cries when the circus leaves town.
One of the songs on my new album is called When the Circus Leaves Town. 'Cause everyone cries when the circus leaves town. Clowns ain't funny, no one's around. Stars don't shine when the tents go down. I wrote the song when I was visiting a friend in Nashville. And he had a little boy. His name was Forrest. And, you know, when you have an entertainer in the house, your house gets a little bit crazy because, you know, there's a lot of music and a lot of fun. So when it came the day for me to leave, I wrote a nice thank you card, and I'm trying to slip out the door. And there's Forrest, and he caught me. He's there in his pajamas, and he's got his blanket there. And I'm looking at him, and he doesn't want me to go, and he's crying. And I got in my truck, and I started saying, everyone cries when the circus leaves town. My friends don't understand why I'm just a traveling man, blowing free with the wind. Just see me coming, then I'm gone again. And so I wrote the song within, a couple of miles. So I went down into my basement. I decided, okay, let's take it seriously. Let's dress up. as if I was doing a performance, even though I'm just sitting in my basement. And so I went and I put on my Manuel jacket and a hat and everything. And I sat there and I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And I pushed the button and started playing. And at the end, I pushed the button and stopped it. No editing, nothing. If you're a musician, it's important for you to do the tiny disc. Some people do it every year, not that they think that they're going to win, but it's part of the ritual. And so that's why I'm really excited to be a part of it this time.
Stars don't shine when the tents go down. Everyone cries when the circus leaves town.
Next up is mother and son artists Judy Emanuel and Bretta Mike from Shelburne, who sent in separate videos to NPR's Tiny Desk contest.
I'm Michael Dyke. My father's name is also Michael Dyke, so I use the name Bretta Mike for my musical purposes. Right now, I live in Shelburne, and we are from Jamaica originally. When I'm not making music, I try to stay within that same world to keep myself fresh and learning things. So I do a lot of sound work, and I'm a student studying music technology. So this song was called When's It Gonna Stop? It's the first song that I fully produced and got to a point where I was like, this is something I feel like I could put out into the world. I like to write my songs so that they can apply to a lot of different situations. So when I say when's it gonna stop, you could relate that to literally anything in your life that you are hoping will come to an end, or you see that needs to come to an end.
When's it gonna stop? It's gotta stop. It's gotta stop. When's it gonna stop? It's gotta stop.
When I write a song, I'm not trying to sound like anybody or emulate anybody or do something that anybody's doing. I'm trying to do something that doesn't exist, because I feel like that is the purpose of creation, is to bring something new into the world. There are times where I don't go to like the most obvious chord, and all of that is to create tensions and to create attention to that particular area.
God, you can't keep running away from it. Within it all, never safe from pain, honey. You wanna change, brother, you gotta say something. When's it gonna stop? No, you can't keep running away from it. Within it all, never safe from pain, honey. You wanna change, brother, you gotta say something. When's it gonna stop?
I grew up hearing my parents' music all the time, so it's just been really cool to come into my own musicianship. They were not pushing me to do music, really. I wasn't even in lessons or anything growing up, so it feels good to come to that full circle and then be able to collaborate with them, because my mother is one of the best singers in the world. To do this with her feels just very, very natural. It's like I didn't have to go look for a great singer. I could just say, you're right there.
You out cold in the rain, claiming your name in the system. You've been hiding, running from crowds for too long. It's draining your time to move on and go through each moment I
I am Judy Emanuel Dyke. My artist's name is Judy Emanuel, from Jamaica, currently living in Shelburne, Vermont. When I'm not singing and recording and doing music stuff, I'm scheduling for the UVM Medical Hospital.
But the story is the same, wrong place and wrong time.
So if I'm not doing that, I'm off somewhere in the world doing a show, recording songs, writing songs, making music.
Growing up is getting much harder.
And I chose growing up because that is topical, that is right at my heart. This, criminality has to stop. We have to stop killing our children. We have to stop killing our women. We have to stop this BIPOC hate. We have to stop. For me, I want my audience to feel, just to feel everything that I am feeling. And that's my intention in everything that I sing. Whatever message is in the song, I want you to feel the message that I'm trying to bring across. I want you to take the message to heart, for it to hit somewhere deep inside that could cause change, and to actually feel propelled to do something.
Growing up is getting much harder. Missing you every day. Missing you is tough for what aching. We have lost. All of us have lost.
That was Judy Emanuel and Bretta Mike, along with Rick Polari, Vermont artists who have entered this year's Tiny Desk contest held by NPR. You can check out their submissions on our website, vermontpublic.org. Thanks for listening to The Frequency today. We had additional reporting from Nathaniel Wilson, Peter Hirschfeld, and Mary Engish. Today's episode was edited by Liam Elder Connors, and our music is by Blue Dot Sessions. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. Talk to you tomorrow.
Planet Money helps you understand the economy. We find the people at the center of the story.
Garbage in New York, that was like a controlled substance.
We show you how money influences everything.
Tell me what you like by telling me how you spend your money.
And we dig until we get answers.
I had a bad feeling you were going to bring that up.
Planet Money finds out. All you have to do is listen. The Planet Money Podcast from NPR.